have you ever just stopped to think about what language really is? I mean, it's this magical ability that we humans have. Right now, I'm just making sounds with my mouth. Hisses, puffs, all these vibrations in the air. And somehow, those vibrations are traveling to you, and your brain is turning them into thoughts. It's how we can pass these incredibly complex ideas from my mind directly into yours.
See what I mean? I bet you've never thought that thought before in your entire life. But now you have. I just used language to build a completely new, kind of bizarre idea right inside your head. That is the incredible power we're talking about here.
And this is where it gets really wild. There isn't just one language. Nope. There are about 7,000 of them spoken all over the world. And they don't just have different sounds or different words. The really crucial thing is they have different structures. And that, of course, leads to a massive question.
Now, this is a really ancient question. People have been debating it for centuries. Is language just a way to express thoughts we already have? Or does it actually build those thoughts? Does it literally create the world we see around us? It's been a huge philosophical tug-of-war for ages.
On one side, you've got people like Charlemagne, who said that learning another language gives you a whole second soul. The idea is that language creates your reality. But then, on the other side, you've got Shakespeare's Juliet, who's basically saying, what's the big deal? Language is just a label. Reality is reality. A rose is a rose, whatever you call it.
So for thousands of years, this was all just talk, right? Speculation. But that's not the case anymore. Just recently, scientists in labs all over the world have started gathering actual data. So forget the speculation, let's dive in and see what the evidence actually says.
Okay, let's start with an Aboriginal community in Australia, the Kuuk Thaayorre. Now, in their language, they don't have words like left and right. Can you imagine? Instead, they describe everything using cardinal directions, north, south, east, and west. So you wouldn't just say hello, you say something like, which way are you headed? And the answer might be north-northeast. And you? It's not just a cute little quirk, it's absolutely essential for staying oriented and for survival.
Come on, give it a shot, right now. Close your eyes and try to point southeast. Okay, open them. Did you get it right? Most of us probably not even close. But get this, a 5-year-old Kuuk Thaayorre speaker would know exactly which way is which without hesitation. Their language forces them to stay oriented in space in a way that we just aren't.
And this constant awareness of space totally changes how they think about something as abstract as time. If you're an English speaker, you probably imagine time going from left to right. But for the Kuuk Thaayorre, time isn't attached to their bodies at all. It's locked onto the landscape. It always flows from east to west. So depending on which way they're facing, their timeline physically changes direction. That is a profoundly different way to experience time.
Language also gives us these cognitive tools we totally take for granted. Think about counting. We all learned it as kids. But some languages don't have words for exact numbers. They're called anumeric languages. And speakers of these languages, well, they don't count. And because of that, they find it really hard to keep track of exact amounts. That little trick of having number words is actually the key that unlocks the entire world of mathematics.
And it's not just big, abstract ideas. Language even carves up how we see the physical world, like the colors all around us. In English, we just have one word, blue, to cover all these different shades. But in Russian, there are two totally separate words, goluboy for light blue and sini for dark blue. For them, it's not just two shades of the same color. They're different categories.
And here's the kicker. This has a real effect on their brains. Because they've spent their whole life being trained by their language to distinguish between these two colors, Russian speakers are actually faster at telling the difference between a light and a dark blue. Their language has literally sharpened their perception. Okay, here's another weird one, grammatical gender. In a lot of languages, every single noun gets a gender, usually masculine or feminine. And as you can see, it can be completely arbitrary. The sun is feminine in German, but masculine in Spanish. The moon is the other way around. Now, you've got to wonder, could this little quirk of grammar actually change how people think?
Well, it turns out, yeah, it does. In one study, people were asked to describe a bridge. In German, bridge is a feminine word. In Spanish, it's masculine. And what happened? German speakers were more likely to use words like beautiful or elegant. Spanish speakers used words like strong or long. The grammar was subconsciously pushing them toward gendered stereotypes. Language also frames how we think about events, especially accidents. In English, we tend to put the focus on who did it. We say, he broke the vase. But in a language like Spanish, it's more natural to say something that translates to, the vase broke itself. It kind of takes the person out of the equation and just focuses on the fact that the event happened.
And this isn't just a tiny grammatical difference. It has huge consequences for our memory. If an English speaker and a Spanish speaker watch the exact same event, the English speaker is more likely to remember who was responsible. The Spanish speaker is more likely to remember that it was an accident. Think about what that means for eyewitness testimony, or even how we assign blame and punishment.
So, okay, we've looked at all these amazing examples from all over the world. But what's the big takeaway here? Let's tie it all together and see just how deeply language is shaping your mind, right this very second.
The effects of language are just profound. They're big, shaping fundamental concepts like how we even understand space and time. They're deep, unlocking whole new worlds of thought like math. They're early, affecting our most basic perceptions, like just seeing color. They're broad, touching on how we think about pretty much anything that has a name. And they're incredibly personal, guiding our reasoning on really important stuff like blame and punishment.
You know, the beautiful thing about all of this is what it says about the human mind. It shows us how incredibly ingenious and flexible we are. We haven't just come up with one way to see the world, one single cognitive universe. No, we created thousands of them.
But here's the tragic irony. Our species has created 7,000 of these incredible cognitive universes, but nearly everything we think we know about the human mind, from a scientific standpoint, is based on studying a tiny, tiny fraction of them. Mostly English-speaking college students, actually. Our science is unbelievably biased.
And what's absolutely heartbreaking is that we're losing this amazing diversity faster than we can even study it. About one language dies out every single week. And every time a language disappears, we lose an entire cognitive universe. A unique masterpiece of human thought is just gone.
So when you get right down to it, this isn't really just about how people in some faraway place think. This is about you. This is about understanding the very structure of your own mind. It's about recognizing how the language you speak every day is shaping every thought you have.
And once you realize that, it gives you a kind of power. It lets you ask yourself, why do I think this way? How can I maybe think differently? And then the most important question of all, what thoughts do I want to create? Because language isn't a prison, it's a tool, and you get to decide what you want to build.